All right, so in this video, we're going to be talking about 7 psychological triggers that move homeowners closer to the sale, right? So when you have like a lead, they're on on this continuum of not interested to sign a contract, right? There are things that you can do to actually move them along that scale, all the way down to to that continuum, right? Of the way they sign the contract. And this is what we're going to be talking about in this video. So the thing is, a lot of contractors or renovation companies don't understand homeowner psychology, right? Because when you get a lead, right? For example, if you have a prospect, right, and then they see your ad and then become a lead, right? Most people think, okay, yeah, now we've got them. Now they should, you should give them a call, book an appointment, and then we can get them all started. But then that's the problem, right? So at this point, they are still cold, right? Even though you have their name, email, and phone number or whatever they filled into the form, right? They're still at the beginning of their journey, right? So at this point, these people, you would say, like, they're actually, cold prospects, right? The thing is, people just don't know how to nurture leads properly, right? Because the person that actually does, who probably is your competition at this point, is actually following up with these leads and then getting the contract, right? Signing the contract with someone else. We don't want that to happen, right? So the idea is, how do you know what is the triggers that are like kind of psychological to these homeowners that we can actually get them across the line, right? So the good thing about this is, like, I'm going to show you the exact 7-step results framework. We call it results, right? That turns more of these leads into signed contracts. And the even better part is actually how we can use AI to apply these scientifically proven triggers to your follow-up, and then you can actually see how that works to get you more contracts. All right, so we have the first one, which is R, right? This is what we call reciprocity. So with reciprocity, people kind of feel obliged to give you something back when they receive something first. You probably seen it in your daily life, right? When you do a favor for someone, they tend to like you, or they tend to, like, give you more favor, and then, okay, when they feel obliged to actually want to do something in return, right? It shouldn't be the reason for you doing this the first in the first place, but the idea is, when you do it, you get something back in return. Not every time, but then if you can actually implement this in your marketing, in your sales, then you will get more leads to get over that hump, right? So that's the first one. The second one is expertise, right? So people actually follow credible and knowledgeable experts, right? When they know that you know your stuff, when you know that you've done so many projects that are kind of similar to what they're doing, then they know you're the expert, and then they will actually want to hire you. Demonstrating expertise, you might think, is actually really easy to do, but if you don't do it correctly, you might just seem like an egotistic person, right? Being able to demonstrate expertise that actually makes the homeowner know or feel that you know your stuff is something that we can do as well too. So then the next one is S, right? Which is scarcity. So scarcity is a very powerful one. It's a very powerful trigger, because if people know things are limited or scarce, they desire it more. Like, I was reading a news article about Lamborghini launching the new Phenomenal, I think it's called, right? And they're only gonna make 29 versions a year. Maybe not actually a year, 29 versions in total, right? So imagine the drive, what's the word I'm looking for? Imagine the demand for this car, what it's going to be when it actually launches, right? I'm sure they're going to have pre-orders within minutes, and then everything is sold out at whatever price they actually decide to put it at, right? So that is a very, very, I mean, human beings, again, we are funny, right? We want what we can get, right? So anyway, so that's scarcity. Let's leave that in there. So the next one is U. So that's unity, right? So people are influenced by those that, those with a shared identity, or they have a connection with, right? A shared identity could be religious, it could be values, it could be, it could be anything that even as it could even be something as simple as hobbies, for example, right? So having that shared identity, which I'm going to show you how we can pull that out in your follow-ups, right? that will actually help you to be able to convert more customers, right? All right, so that's unity. Then the next one is L, that's liking, right? So the unity was more about shared connection. This one is people that, when they actually like and connect with you on a different level, right? People actually, yeah, it's easier to persuade people. The persuasion is actually easier in that sense, right? And the really cool thing about this, which we're gonna, if you think about it like this, right? Where, okay, if I have this set of values, this set of identities that I can connect with this kind of client, so am I only going to be able to get that client, right? But the good thing about with AI is, which we're not there yet, we're able to, but we're getting close where you can actually have AI influencers, right? So imagine having a series of AI influencers from multiple ages, with multiple preferences and hobbies, working for your brand, right? And then being able to target like people, like, a certain ICP or a certain segment of people, right? That's something that we can implement later. But anyways, I digress. We'll get there, and that's something that I'm going to be at the forefront of when we actually launch this. But yeah, for this one, liking, like being able to get people to like and trust you is actually very important. Okay. All right. So then the next one is T, right? So that is trust, right? So liking, after that comes the trust, right? So they might like you, but they're not be able to trust you, right? When they see you as an expert, they connect with you, and then you are kind of vulnerable with them, right? In the way which I'll show you about later. This actually helps them to not get to that point of trust, right? So then the next one is an S again, and this one is actually, again, even though it's last, it's actually very powerful. It's called social proof, right? Social proof, people think it's basically having 200 reviews or 2,000 reviews on a Google business page, but it's so much more than that. We need to be able to have a way to mine these reviews and then show people that you've actually worked with someone in their similar situation, wanting a similar project, and that actually like them, right? If you're able to get this front and center, it's going to be a really, really big trigger. All right, so now the next step is how are we able to show this in your follow-up, right? So when the lead comes in, so what we do is we send a 7-day email sequence, right? And that's once every day for 7 days, right? And then after that, we send 2 emails per day. No, sorry, per week. We send 2 emails per week. For how long? Forever. For as long as they're a lead in your system, we send them emails twice a week, every week, right? And I'm going to show you how we can make this easier. You don't have to think about how, to come up with emails for, I don't know, that's 100 emails a year. But the idea is we are staying top of mind. One person might be ready to do their project right now. Another person might be ready in 3, 4, 5 months from now. But the idea is we are able to get so many leads into our system. We have a system for that. And then we just nurture these guys over time, forever, as long as they're a lead. Whenever they're ready, we are top of mind, and we know that they're going to call us when they're ready to do their project. All right. Okay. So that's the setup. But then what emails do we send, right? So I'm going to show you those emails right now. Okay. So the first email, so that goes out on day 1, we call it the roadmap email, right? Right. So that's the roadmap email. That email is basically setting clear expectations. Thank you. Welcome to our world, right? And we immediately provide value by giving them what they ask for. So let me go back. I probably haven't explained this yet. We normally get our clients when they sign up, they're not just a lead. We just don't ask for a name, email, and phone number. Come here to get a kitchen renovation. No, we actually give them something of value upfront. An example could be we have a client that we actually set up like an AI kitchen designer. So this AI designs the kitchen, gives them pictures of their kitchen. You can take a picture of your location, right, of your current kitchen, and it's going to tell you how we can redesign your kitchen and make it look amazing, depending on what the client wanted. So that's giving them value upfront, right? We're giving them so much value upfront that another client that is just asking for a name, email, and phone number can't even compete because they are coming to us already getting value, right? So that's the first email, right? And then giving them, so we call it the roadmap email, but then we give them the lead magnet upfront, right? So what does this do? So those scientific triggers, it starts with reciprocity. So remember, we've given them something of value, they feel obliged to give us something back in return. Again, it might not be a signed contract yet, but again, at least it's giving them they're giving us their attention, which is so hard to get these days. In these days of social media, where there are 2,000 things trying to compete for their attention daily, right? But then we are able to keep their attention by giving them something, and then we get that in return, right? What this also helps with is expertise, right? So that expertise trigger also is there because we are demonstrating the knowledge of the process, right? By giving them that information up front, giving them again, another lead magnet that we have is an ROI calculator. We can calculate how much or how they're going to be able to back out their investment over the course of 2-3 years, right? Imagine they are building a basement for rental. So how much rent can they collect over this time, and how that's going to pay for the renovation? So I think that all that knowledge is something that you have in you, but you're not sharing that with the customer. If you share that with the customer, they see your expertise and they want to hire you, right? See your expertise, right? Then inherently they trust you, right? So that's T for that. So that's day one email. So day two, we so on day two, we now send them, we call it the educational deep dive, right? So that's education, right? We send them an email that maybe has a subject like the $15,000 mistake that 60% of homeowners make, as an example, right? But then the idea is we share common costly mistakes, that is specific to their project type. Whatever project they wanted to get done with us, we give them real examples and how they can prevent these mistakes. Or things like, how to not hire the wrong contractor, because homeowners are terrified of having the wrong contractor that's going to give them, but going to go over budget over time. But then we are sending them emails and then showing them like with actual examples of how to avoid these pitfalls. A very, very powerful, very, very powerful one. Right. So what this also demonstrates that expertise, right, from giving them that information up front. Also gives us social proof, right? Social proof is really powerful in this case because they can see that we've worked with so many homeowners and we've seen all these problems arise or all these problems come up. So now we can make sure you don't fall into that same trap. So that's a kind of twist on social proof in that sense. And then again, back up to reciprocity, right? Like giving them information on how to avoid these pitfalls, and then now they feel obliged to give us their attention, at least for now, in return, right? So then the third email that we send is what we call a customer success story, right? So we call it the customer success story. So what we do is now we just talk about, we highlight, we mine from the reviews, right? And highlight a review of someone that is similar to their circumstance, right? Someone that is like them, that wants the same project that they want. And then we kind of give a detailed case study and include what the initial doubts were, how the renovation process went, the challenges that we overcame in that project, and then most importantly, the emotional impact on the daily life, right? You should be asking your customers, your clients this every time you do a project. Like, how do you feel now that we've done your kitchen? How do you feel now that you have this addition done to your home, right? And not just the surface reasons, but the actual deep down reasons, what they can actually do now that they actually have their final project, the project finalized. So what this does is again, huge, is social proof, right? Because they can see an actual client that is actually gone through this, and then they see we should have someone that we have succeeded, someone who's like them, right? Unity in the sense that if they can connect with that homeowner, right, then they feel that sense of affinity, right? Someone in a similar situation as them, right? And then liking, right? Again, we're telling a relatable emotional story that kind of builds connection with them, with the client. And then what is actually a powerful because it also gives you that expertise, right? Also that expertise trigger, because we are the experts that took this client from this position to that position, and then we're able to do the same for you as well too, right? As the experts, right? So that's the third email. So email number 4 is what we call the free consultation or free planning tool, right? So here we don't wait till the end to actually get them into the call with us, right? So what we offer them is like a complimentary project assessment or a free planning kit or something like that, right? So what we offer is like them being able to give us a call. Okay, let me give an actual example. It's called, this is the ROI calculator I was telling you about, right? We call it the ROI analysis, right? So for people that are building basements, right, and then they're able to build use that for rental. So give us a call, and then we'll go through your situation, and then find out how you can make this investment worth it for you, something like that, right? So it makes, the good thing about it is like it's a valuable call for them. It's not a sales call, and then it's structured. What this also hits, right, is gives you that reciprocity, right? Because we're giving them something in return. Well, like giving them something ahead of time, and then we get something in return. We may not at that point, but in the end, the idea is just to give, give, give. So when we make the ask, it won't be out of this world, right? Then we have the trust trigger as well too, because we're giving them a small commitment, like they're coming in, having a call with us, and now they actually trust us because we're giving them actual value that they can actually use to go ahead with their project. And the good thing about this is like we don't even care. They can take this same information and go ahead with someone else. But why would they go ahead with someone else that has not taken the time to understand their needs, right? And this one is just inherent, right? That where we can actually demonstrate expertise, because as we're giving them the consultation, they can see that we are experts in this situation, right? So that's email number 4. So email 5 on day 5 is, it's a really nice one. It's what we call behind the scenes, right? So we actually send like a behind the scenes email. It's very easy to do because you have projects running. You have lots of projects going on at the same time, right? So it takes you nothing to just walk around the job site with a phone, simple iPhone video, walking around the job site, and then showing progress, showing what you're doing, even just talking about what's going on today. You don't have to be in front of the camera. If you're in front of the camera, even better, right? And then we are showing them how you're working day by day, challenges that you are facing. The really good thing about this is, it's first of all, it demonstrates your expertise because they can actually see projects being worked on, right? And they can see your processes and the standards that you adhere to on the job site. Good thing about this is also triggers liking, right? Because it's a personal approach, right? You just having a chat and then telling the client, this is how we're doing framing today, right? For example, okay, today drywall is coming up. We had an issue delivering the drywall, but then we got through it. That builds rapport with the clients, right? And then you also get that trust factor because it's showing like consistency in you adhering to your standards, right? So that's day 5. Then the next one that we send is on day 6 is what we call the direct call to action, right? At this point, we've been giving them information, we've been giving them a lot of value, but now it's time to actually now trigger that ask, right? So we send an email like, it's time to start your project. We only have 3 spots left this month, for example. Again, make it real. If you know that, okay, you only have capacity for maybe another extra 2 projects, you can let them know, and then they want to jump on, right? Another way of that, maybe introducing scarcity is, like, for example, a timely example is if tariffs are going to hit, for example, we have tariffs between USA and Canada, tariffs are going to hit next week, right? Or maybe in about 2 weeks from now. Come in, let's get started. Let's get your materials ordered, just so that we can, get them done without, because if it can go up 25% in the next week, something like that, right? So things like this, it gives you that scarcity trigger where, as I said, so actually here, let me write it down. So we have the scarcity trigger. Actually, so this one, yeah, so I called it the direct call to action, right? It's direct CTA. So that scarcity trigger is going to give you that idea of, let's do this now before it runs out, before we have to pay more later, right? A very, very powerful trigger. It also shows expertise, right? Because you know your stuff, right? You're actually seeing the macro environment, right? How tariffs are going to affect prices, things like that. They know that, okay, you're not just saying this just for fun, because it actually is true. They've seen it in the news, right? And then also, yeah, trust, because you're actually trying to get the best deal for them, right? So that's day 6 email. And then day 7 email, which is a powerful one. Again, I know I say they're all powerful, but the idea of having each one being powerful, but then layering them up, like layer them up, and then you send this all out, makes it even more effective, right? So day 7 is what we call the personal email, right? The personal story, right? So, and then like a soft close, a soft call to action, because it's the last one we're going to send daily, right? So we kind of include like a personal story about the founder of the company, right? This is the reason why they became a contractor, right? What is their mission? What was their vision when they started this, right? And what drives them to do excellent work, right? And then we kind of end with like a gentle invitation to say, you know what, if you want to get started with us, yeah, give us a call, and then we can have a call, right? So the good thing about this one is you get that like factor, right? So because you've been vulnerable with them, right? They see a personal, or they can get an emotional connection because they've heard your personal stories. Even better if they connect with your personal story, right? So that's where you have the unity. So if you have the um, direct connection with the client, because you have a shared value or a shared mission, it creates a bond between you and that person, right? Also, you have the trust factor, right? Because you've been able to, build trust because you've shared that story. They kind of know about you. It doesn't feel like a transaction anymore. It feels more like, you're being open with them, like a friend to a friend. That's where you build that trust. And also having that expertise, which again together comes with all the previous emails, and then even with this one, when you share your mission and then you share your vision, it's something that the client sees as, what, this guy actually knows what he's talking about, or this company knows what they're talking about, right? So those are the 7 emails. Each email builds up on the previous one. It gradually moves the homeowner from awareness, right? Name, email, phone number, to consideration, considering, okay, this actually really will be able to help me, all the way to decision, and then them signing up. So that's the persuasion continuum, right? All the way. So yes, you can see everything down there. Let me show you quickly of how we're actually implementing this now, for example. All right, so here we have a diagram here. So basically, I said the first 7 emails we show, we send them, emails every day for the first 7 days. And then we now send them emails twice weekly for forever. That's why we call this the forever follow-up, as you can see there, right? And then at the end of every week, we send them like a direct call to action. And that direct call to action, all this is managed by what we call the content planner agent, right? This is an AI agent that is trained on your company details, right? So it's trained on your blog, data that we can actually extract about your company. Your reviews, we gather all those reviews, mine them, and then find the ones that we can actually pull amazing stories out of, right? And then news about your city that we can also implement as well too. So that agent is trained on all this on all this information, and then it's able to send these emails twice every week forever, right? So you don't have to sit down there and start writing emails. Oh, what do I write next week? What do I write next week? Right? The agent will come up with the ideas, write the emails, you okay the emails, or you approve the emails, and then it gets sent out. So this is actually a couple of agents that we've set up here. So might be a bit too technical, but it doesn't really matter. Just again, don't feel too overwhelmed. So this agent starts here, scripts, goes to your website, scripts all the URLs, find the ones that are new, and then the AI agent categorizes all the blog posts. So it knows which ones are talking about kitchens, which ones are talking about social proof, which ones are talking about reviews, categorizes that. Then we have the second one, right, which goes and then mines your reviews, right? Again, pulls all the reviews, and then the most important part is it creates stories. So when a client actually talks about their experience, we can generate a beautiful story out of that. All right, then the next AI agent actually now creates the email, right? So this one actually pulls the email. First of all, it decides, okay, there might be lots of leads in your database. Some want kitchens, some want additions, some want full home renos, right? So it segments the database like that. It decides, okay, this week are we sending like a results email? Are we sending like a value driven email? Is it going to be like a behind the scenes email, or an educational email, or a direct call to action email? And then so it knows what email it sent in the past. So what's the next step? And then creates the email, generates the email, and then sends it out to the client. So basically, that's what I have for you, right? So every day you're not following up with the leads that you have, you're leaving so much money on the table. You need to understand that renovation sales are like 20% is logical, but most of it's actually emotional, right? There's a lot of emotions that actually go into it. The good thing about this, like the AI system can help you do this consistently over time, right? But then we can feed it with information about your company and make sure that it's sending the right emails, right? But you need to understand homeowner psychology before you can do this, right? I hope this has helped you. If you have any questions about, how we can help, if you want to know how we can set this up for you, there's a link in the description below. Book a call with my team, and then we can just give like a strategy on how you can implement this. Again, if you're able to implement this on your own, we can actually give you all the information you need to implement this by yourself or with your team. Or if you need our help, we'll be there to help you as well too. So yeah, looking forward to hearing from you, and then we'll see you in the next video.